Top quality silage is a priority every year. So I suppose over the last few years, I've been hitting that 71, 72 DMD silage, getting a cut in that third week of May, no later than the third week of May. Really, I suppose the target for an autumn calving herd should be up nearer to 75 DMD silage, and that's what I'm hoping for. So maybe trying to pull back the cutting date by even a week would help me hit that target of 75 DMD. I probably need to do a bit more reseeding on the farm as well to improve the quality of the silage.
Hello and welcome to the Beef Edge, the Teagasc beef podcast, for all your latest news, information and advice for Irish beef farmers. I'm Catherine Egan, and on this week's episode, I'm joined by future beef farmer Trevor Boland, who operates an autumn calving system in County Sligo, to get an update on the farm, harvesting of silage and management of grass in the coming weeks. Trevor, with current weather conditions, what's happening on the farm at the moment?
Both current weather conditions are very mixed. We all know it's been a difficult spring, and thankfully there was a bit of an improvement there now. It didn't last too long, but we're sort of in the middle of a very mixed period of weather now, and it's this time of year I'm trying to get silage cut. I'm aiming for top quality silage because I'm an autumn calving herd and I'm trying to avoid putting in meal into the cows. And also this time of year, managing grass. So I'm trying to keep quality grass in front of the cattle, not to have grass going too stemmy, and ensure the cattle are putting on weight at this time of year. I always find that if you can manage grass in May and not lose that battle, we'll call it, you're sort of setting yourself up well for the second half of the year.
Most definitely. And what grazing groups of stock have you on the farm now, and what's taken priority?
So I probably have four separate groups of stock. The autumn calving cows are all weaned at this stage. I'd have a group of bulls on their own. I'd have a group of beef heifers, and I'd have a group of in-calf heifers.
And how are the groups of bulls being managed at the moment, and how often are you moving them?
So they'd be, I suppose, their top priority this time of year. They're getting good quality grass in front of them. I'm not forcing them to graze out paddocks, so I would have maybe a small group of cull cows coming behind them, or some of them dry cows, and they'll graze out the paddock for me. So with the bulls this time of year, it's really, really important that they're in top quality conditions in terms of health, that you have all their dosing done, and they don't have a worm burden or don't have a fluke burden, and you keep that quality grass in front of them, and they will put on weight for you.
Most definitely. And in relation to the heifers, how are they being managed at the moment?
Yeah, heifers, something similar. Maybe I'd get them to graze out the paddock slightly tighter. They won't be sold as early. They won't be sold to the back end of the year. And again, it's trying to keep that good quality grass in front of them. So they're into the paddock, going in and maybe about 10 centimetres, not letting the grass grow stemmy, as I say, and get them out then when they've cleaned it off. I'm probably not going down to the 4 centimetres, coming out maybe at 5 centimetres or just under it. But again, moving them on through the paddocks, 3 days into the paddock and out again.
And how are you fixed for grass at the moment with that rotation?
Yeah, so I'm quite happy with grass at the moment, but as I say, look, it's a battle now at this stage, just to not to fall behind or not to let the grass get ahead of you. So at the moment on the farm, I have on the 2 blocks that I'm measuring, I have 14 days ahead of me on both blocks. I don't want it to go any higher than 14 days. And even if for the rest of May and into June, if I could bring that down maybe to 11 to 12 days, I'd be quite happy with that. There's a cover of about 1,000 kgs of dry matter on each of the 2 blocks. Growth is at about 70 and demand is at 70. So I'm probably bang on where I need to be. Maybe just maybe 2 days grass too much ahead of me. And over the next couple of weeks, I might just close up another paddock or 2 just to get back to maybe 12 days grass ahead of me, just to ensure that quality all the time in front of the stock.
And you mentioned there the fact that your autumn calving quality silage is really important for your system. What's your plan for silage this summer?
Yeah, absolutely. Top quality silage is a priority every year. So I suppose over the last few years, I've been hitting that 71, 72 DMD silage, getting a cut in that third week of May, no later than the third week of May. Really, I suppose the target for an autumn calving herd should be up nearer to 75 DMD silage, and that's what I'm hoping for. So maybe trying to pull back the cutting date by even a week would help me hit that target of 75 DMD. I probably need to do a bit more reseeding on the farm as well to improve the quality of the silage. And in terms of what I've cut so far, so on the 17th of May there, I got about 20 acres of silage cut. So that should be really good quality silage. I actually ended up with 30 more bales on the same area of ground than the same time last year. And over the next week, once I get a break in the weather now for a couple of days, I'd be hoping to get another 10 acres cut. So again, it's the third week of May here and getting good quality silage into the yard, and getting a good number of bales on it. And that'll set me up then to plan for my second cut, plan for fertiliser, and what paddocks I need to take out to make sure I get enough silage during the year.
Trevor, what are you putting that increase in yield down to?
One thing I probably did do was I got the silage ground grazed off very tight. So I did have stock out early on it, probably before the really bad weather came, and I got it grazed off pretty tight. It got a good supply of fertiliser, and maybe on them particular blocks, I'm probably good enough on my soil indices, and my P's and my K's are probably at index 3 on them. So there's a couple of factors coming in together there to increase the yield on them paddocks, which I'd be quite happy about. Now we'll have to see how the rest of the year goes, but that's I'd be happy enough with how so far has gone silage wise.
And what's your plan now for the second cut?
So I suppose the first thing I need to do is get the rest of the first cut in, and I hope to have that done now over the next couple of days. Plan then for the second cut will be get out maybe 60, 65 units of N to the acre. Close up a similar amount of ground and aim for a similar amount of bales in sort of 6 to 8 weeks' time. There's also some paddocks now at the moment that I've closed up to keep me at that 14 days ahead. So I'd say maybe in about 3 weeks' time, I'll be able to go in and take out them paddocks. So I'll have a nice bit of aftergrass coming off them paddocks then. And growth rates will have dropped back then sort of at the end of June time. So I'll have all them paddocks back into the rotation, nice clean swards, and stock should be able to thrive on then for the rest of the year.
And what's your plan for P and K for the second crop of silage?
It'll all be in compound fertiliser. So I've all my slurry out at this stage. So whatever P's and K's I need on the silage ground will be coming as bagged fertiliser.
And based on your fodder budget for the silage you need next winter, how do you feel you'll be fixed, or had you much fodder left over from last winter?
Yeah, so I'd about, I suppose, maybe 2 to 3 weeks left over, which isn't bad, but maybe getting a little tight. I probably want maybe 3 to 4 weeks left on the farm any one year. I do think I'll be able to get that build up a surplus there again this year. Once I get a good first cut into the yard, get my fertiliser out for my second cut, growth keeps going. But really for me, it's all about quality. I have to get quality silage into them bales. Almost every bale I make has to be top quality. So I'm not going. It's not volume I'm going for. I'm going for quality to keep the cows in good condition over the winter.
And what's your plan for fertiliser on grazing ground in the coming weeks?
So fertiliser on grazing ground is very much dependent on growth and demand. So if growth drops back by too much and demand stays ahead, and I think that I could run down to a deficit of grass in front of the stock in terms of I'm at less than 10 days into that midsummer period, then I'll go back in with maybe a bag of N to the acre. Now, my next fertiliser application will be solely a P fertiliser where I'm low in the P index. So I need to get out with some 0.16.0 on that grazing ground and then sort of assess the way I manage it all through the summer is where growth rates drop and demand is higher and I need to increase my growth rates, then I'll go in with a bag of fertiliser. But I haven't put out any fertiliser on the grazing ground since springtime. And the longer I can keep that going, the better for me in terms of it's less use of fertiliser during the year. So I would have some clover oversown over the years. I'm hoping that kicks in and keeps my growth rates high. And I also have some more lime to put out this year. So I'm hoping my soil indices, my clover, measuring the grass and watching demand and all that feeds into actually putting out less fertiliser in that. I grow as much grass as I can, but to match the stock demand.
And how did you go about oversowing the clover, and how do you find that that's benefiting those paddocks?
Yeah, so it's 2 years ago now. I've done my last clover. It's just a very simple machine there that just throws out the clover over a tightly grazed paddock. I've noticed an improvement in the amount of clover in the swards, and I do believe it's helped helps the growth rates on the farm in that I'm not putting out as much nitrogen on the grazing ground.
And you mentioned there the importance of lime. How much lime do you need to apply and when are you planning on applying it?
Yeah, so every year I'm doing a bit of lime. Last year, I suppose I did it maybe more than in previous years, and that I got out about 40 tonne of lime last year, and I'll probably do the same this year. Timing of the lime is, I suppose, difficult to get right, and you're trying to watch if it needs to go on silage ground, get out after your silage is cut for the year. So I'd probably go with another 40 tonne of lime. I might get out, I think it's on the grazing ground I need to put out lime this year, so I'll get out during the summer with that when ground conditions are fairly good.
And the fact you're autumn calving, how are you managing cows in the coming weeks pre-calving?
So the cows, they'll be really forced to graze out paddocks tight. So on the block of ground they're on, they might spend an extra half a day or that in a paddock to really make sure that paddock is grazed out tight. Come June time now, I'll be going in with garlic licks into them cows to try to keep the flies at bay. And from about the middle of June on, I'll be targeting to get tar in them cows maybe once a week. And I'll also use a spot on them to try to keep the flies at bay from them during the summer months, so as to avoid getting any cases of mastitis. I've been doing it the last few years, and I feel them 3 methods works well.
And in relation to managing condition on the cows, how will they be managed in the month before calving?
I'm not too worried about the condition of the cows. So coming out of the shed in the springtime, they will have lost some condition. Obviously, the aim is that they don't lose too much during the winter, but they'll put back on that condition during the summer months. And even, grazing them out tight and keeping that bit tighter on the grazing ground means they don't put on too much condition. But they do, they're coming back into good shape again. Even now, I like the condition the cows are in at the moment. And I'll just keep them going there through the rotation and grazing out paddocks tight.
That's great, Trevor. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Catherine.
That's all for this week's episode, and my thanks to Trevor for joining me on the show. You can catch up on all other shows and interviews from the Beef Edge podcast on the Teagasc website at teagasc.ie, or you can listen on Apple and Google Podcasts as well as Spotify. Don't forget to rate, review and subscribe so you never miss a show. For all other updates from our beef programme, keep an eye on our Twitter and Facebook pages. Until next time, I'm Catherine Egan, and thanks for listening.